Welcome to CatchyCartoons. Today's video is the first in my How to Caricature series, and we're going to begin with a caricature of Lilly Singh. I've chosen Lilly not only because she's a world-famous YouTube star and all-round entertainer, but to dispel the notion that all caricatures need to be over-the-top, oftentimes quite outlandish, versions of a person's face. But how can you possibly parody someone as attractive as Lilly? After all, there's nothing about her face that screams out to be caricatured. Quite the opposite, in fact. Well, that's precisely what I'm hoping to show you how to do in this tutorial today. The first step of the caricature process is to study your reference. So find yourself a good photograph that clearly shows your subject's features. Then use the photograph, as shown here in Lilly's case, to determine the characteristics you want to exaggerate, such as her big, heavily lidded eyes, high and sculpted cheekbones, her strong jawline and chin, a fine and delicate nose, nicely shaped and fairly thick brows, and a rounded-off cone shape for her head. Be sure to take note of expression and body language as well as just the features. In this example, Lilly looks vibrant and more than a little spirited with her raised right eyebrow and a delightfully crooked smile. And notice the tilt of her head as she leans her body to the left. So now we've made all our observations, we're ready to begin. So let's get drawing. We'll start by drawing a circle for the head. We'll need to angle the eye and center lines to reflect the tilt of her head, and place her big, almond-shaped eyes on the eye line. Sketch in the irises. For the upper lids, we'll draw the line about a third of the way down, all the way from corner to corner. Be sure to arc the line as the eyelid wraps around the spherical shape of the eyeball underneath. Be sure to place her right eyebrow higher than the left to push the expression. As we take the line of the brow down the nose, we'll create a simple V shape for the tip of her nose and sketch in the nostrils. She should have thick and nicely shaped eyebrows. As you can see in the reference, there's a continuous line from the cheek through to her chin. So we'll start her cheekbones around the temple, take the line outside of the circle, arc the line down below the circle, continue down and through the chin and back up following a similar path on the opposite side. To create the shape of her head, we'll start at the top as we angle the line down, inside the cheekbone to the jaw area and through to her chin. And repeat for the other side. As I mentioned earlier, Lilly has a charmingly crooked smile, which is also fairly wide, so we'll push the shape of her lips as they are nice and full. A simple bow for the upper lip, and we'll follow the contour of her mouth for the bottom lip. We'll push that head shape by taking the hair up from the part into a little point, and then allow the hair to fall steeply down the right side of her head. For the left side, we'll have her hair lie along the top of her head before letting it fall straight down from her ear. We'll break up that cone-like shape of her head by applying a sweeping arc of hair at the top and taking the line straight down with a subtle curve to the right as her hair comes into contact with her shoulder. For the left side, we'll simply follow the existing line of the outer hair. We'll rough in her body, starting with two simple lines to illustrate her leaning posture. Take the line down the right side of her neck, up along her right shoulder, and continue down her right arm. Repeat for the left side. Down the neck again, along the shoulder, and down the arm. We'll then push the lean of her body by angling her jacket down towards the right. As you're laying down the lines of her jacket, imagine how the material is reacting to her body as it wraps around her neck, lies across her shoulders, and falls down off her body. We'll suggest a simple U shape for her throat, and we'll finish the ruff by sketching in her jewelry. Now we'll move on to the tie-down stage, where we'll build onto our drawing with more detail and push and pull her features. Lily has thick, long lashes, so we'll apply a thick line to her lids. We'll add some definition to the top and bottom of her eyes to push that heavy-lidded look. Let's keep the nose narrow through the bridge, and we'll make the tip a bit bigger as we build onto the nose. We'll add a subtle flare to the nostrils, as this can suggest a certain liveliness. And we'll make the brows bigger as we retain the nice manicured shape. I feel her smile could be wider, so we'll more clearly define her lips. Rough in some teeth. Let's strengthen her jaw and chin, as I think it could be a bit more prominent, but be careful not to square off the jaw at the corners. Yes, this is a caricature, but it is definitely not of a man. You want to retain her feminine qualities. And as always, stay loose. We're still searching for those shapes and forms. Her cheekbones are looking a bit too big and round, so we'll sharpen them up a bit as we make them smaller. We'll add more definition to her chin. Draw in her laugh lines. Notice I said lines, not wrinkles. Let's sculpt some shape to her hair as we start to add some definition. Clarify her forehead, and we'll get back to tying down her hair. And adjust the part as well. We'll sketch in her ear, her nose ring, and we'll thicken up her neck a touch as we commit to her shoulder. We'll add some more form to the jacket by starting at the collar and continuing down her shoulder. We'll make sure the collar wraps around her neck as we add a bit more definition. A little more detail to the right side, and jump to the left to finish that collar, and another little jump back to the right to finish her jacket. And if you're not too tired from all the jumping back and forth, we'll sketch in her collarbones. Let's add a little bit more definition to her jewellery. And we'll sketch in a simple earring to finish this first tie-down stage. So now would be a good time to take a step back and have a look at our progress. Even though we've decidedly exaggerated her features in true caricature style, they must all still work together to form a cohesive and recognizable face, not just be a collection of distorted elements. How are you coming along? Do you see Lily looking back at you? If not quite, then now's the time to do some tweaking. And since we're stopped right now, perhaps you might take a moment to please like this video and even subscribe to my channel. Many thanks. The second tie-down stage is where we define the line with some subtle polishing and by applying a darker and more committed line. We'll take particular care with her eyes. We'll nail down her nose and make sure that her slightly flared nostrils are clearly defined. We have some really nice shapes going on in her brows and mouth, so we want to be careful not to lose those shapes as we apply a more committed line. We'll just add more detail to her teeth and gums. And since this caricature of Lilly Singh is in pretty good shape, there won't be much more polishing to do. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about what makes good caricature. We touched on it a bit earlier, but for me, a good caricature is essentially just an amped-up portrait, attained not only by exaggerating the subject's features, but then by determining how those exaggerated features relate to each other. Don't just draw a great big nose or a long chin just because you see it. You're simply distorting the drawing. You need to draw with a purpose. How does the nose look relative to the eyes and mouth? And how do the facial features work relative to the shape of the head? Things like that. Your goal is instant recognizability and to hopefully catch your subject's personality in the process. And that, in my opinion, makes for good caricature. So let's just complete our drawing now by sketching in some strands of hair and finishing off the earring. Block in a little tone. And we're done! We've actually managed to create a caricature while still retaining the attractiveness of our subject. And this is precisely what I was hoping to demonstrate to you today. You see, it's not all big noses and long chins after all. If you enjoyed this caricature of Lilly Singh, please click on the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more caricatures and more from Catchy Cartoons. Click on the bell to be notified of my next video. Please share this video and leave a comment. Perhaps who you would like to see caricatured. And do send me your drawing of Lilly Singh. You just might see it in an upcoming Catchy Cartoons video. Thanks for watching and bye for now.